So you want to get that compelling bounce and groove to your drums that makes your head note, but you suck at finger drumming. And programming your drums with a mouse and keyboard makes them sound stiff and boring. And just adding swing gets you nowhere near the natural grooves of someone like Jay Dilla. So let's program some drums, and I'm gonna show you a couple of tips how to make them sound less robotic and come up with some nice grooves. And we're not gonna use any swing or groove templates. These are nice, by the way, but if you just move the notes around by hand, you have more control of how your groove is gonna sound. So by having the notes not fall exactly on the grid, we mimic the way a human drummer will play. A drummer will never play the notes exactly on the grid, and also probably not gonna play the notes with the exact same velocity every time, so we're gonna also vary the velocity. So let me show you an example of this. So I got some drum hits preloaded in this drum rack: kick, snare, and a couple of hi-hats. Probably gonna just use one of those. A low-pass kick that also plays a bit quieter for those ghost kicks, and a shaker loop. So I'll just create a 1-bar MIDI clip. You can of course use the arrangement view, but I usually start on the session view. So just a basic kick and snare pattern, and a super basic 8th note hi-hat. And to quickly add those hi-hats, you can just double click here and create one, and select this range from the grid. So when I press Command D or Control D, it will duplicate the empty space as well. So we got 8th note hi-hats. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's select all the hi-hats, and in Ableton Live, by the way, you can just click on the key here and it will select all the notes that correspond to a certain note. So we're just gonna drag them to the right, make them play a bit later. And so also what I wanna do is basically randomize the velocity a bit. So we got the randomize feature here, and we got the ramp. So we can just fine tune the velocities, and we got also a deviation. So it will humanize it a bit. You can do this manually, of course, but it will save a bit of time. Okay, so now let's go to our snare drum. I'm gonna make it play earlier. So I'm gonna drag it to the left. So for the kick, we want a powerful, full strength kick in the beginning of the bar. But all the other kicks, we may use actually this one, the low pass quieter kick. So what we're gonna do is make this play a bit later as well. So let's see what we have so far. And so we can use this kick in a couple of other places as well. Maybe try here and here as well. So we can just duplicate it at this point, hit duplicate, and just add a bit more kicks to the second bar. So yeah, I'm just gonna move this one here. And so far we have this. So let's have a look at this shaker loop here. So you can use anything, like you can use a tambourine or another hi-hat pattern, anything that's a percussion loop. I'm just gonna add it at every quarter note. And so with the shaker loop, you can transpose it up and down to change the speed. Make sure to leave it unwarped. And you can just look for some cool grooves by pitching it a couple of semitones up or down. Now the problem here is that it clashes with our hi-hat a bit, with most transposition settings. This one is kind of cool. Plus 10 semitones sounds kind of neat. You can play the snare earlier, but you can also have a more laid-back feel just when you make the snare play a bit later. I actually like the one when the snare plays a bit early. By the way, these drums are from my sample pack The Heat, but I've also processed them with the Lifeline console plugin, the drum bus, and the glue compressor. Let's try it with a melodic sample, again from the Heat sample pack. You can check it out from the link in the description, by the way. It has drums, melodic loops, some synth presets, basically everything you need to make a beat. But you can also, of course, use your own samples to experiment with the methods that I'm showing in this video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and check out this video up here for more drum tips. Catch you in the next one.